Alright, game part two, why women can't keep good men around. This is what's happening when women always want a man to adjust to that woman's perspective and adjust to that woman and pleasing that woman to be able to do whatever that woman wants and says, and still can blame all the issues and problems on a more submissive man and doesn't have to be held responsible for her actions the whole time. Just a level up for that woman. Women will make men seem like they're doing something wrong so that that man will simp for that woman. Gang.
1. Stop trying to be right all the time. You don't need to be right. You being right is a direct contradiction for you being happy. When you're dealing with males, sometimes they are wrong, but it's not imperative for us to drill them to death about how wrong they are on something. The man, he needs respect from his woman, trusting that he knows what he's doing. Just let him do it the way he wants to do it. If it's not life and death, most men are pretty logical thinkers. So if he doesn't do something correctly, most of the time he can be man enough to admit that to himself, correct the behavior.
And this is what's happening. Women will try to make men seem like they're doing something wrong, so that man will start to simp for that woman, so that she can, so that man can do whatever that woman says, and she'll just throw emotions at that man and make that man seem like he's doing something wrong. Because women need simps, and they need men that can control and going to listen to that woman and do whatever that woman says. This is why you got to constantly be in control of your life at all time. A lot of people in your life are not even supposed to be in your life, including women. They're just there for the moment. This is why you just got to keep moving forward. The alpha male is only emotionally attached to the woman during sex. Gang.
Change it. He might even step to you and be like, let's just do it your way, because I tried to do it my way. It didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. That actually has happened to me many times with my husband. In those instances where I just fought with him, his pride would be so hurt by the fact that I was telling him how wrong he was, and he would just move on to the next topic. He was so insulted.
This is what's happening because alpha male doesn't want to deal with the emotion and deal with the drama on a woman on an emotional level, where women try to get men to simp for them on an emotional level by throwing emotions at that man to get that man to think that he's doing something wrong. The fact that that man is in love with that woman for sex, through sex, that woman is able to control that man. She is able to use that man, that love for that man, that man has for that woman through sex, where it's a constant level up for that woman, where you got to constantly be leveling up, constantly counting money, constantly making plays. You don't have much time to be in a relationship, and in a relationship that's not going to even last when you have to become the best version of yourself, and time is constantly moving. This is why women find weaker vessels and simps they can control, so they can feel stronger and survive through simps for the moment, just for the moment. Time is constantly moving no matter what. And you must constantly be leveling up and focus on the direction where you want to go. You have to learn to be disciplined, and it's going to make your life way more easier when you learn to be more disciplined on your life and not be so emotionally attached to women on an emotional level. Women will be accountable for their actions, and every time, in every single way, when the time shows, when the time time will show eventually, and will show once the biological clock starts ticking, and that woman understands, that men aren't going to emotionally support that woman and get that woman income no matter what in the relationship. And the time will show that 9 out of 10 times the relationship isn't going to even last. This is why the nice guy finish last. Women are narcissists. You cannot be nice to women, and love just isn't enough. The woman will marry you today and divorce you tomorrow. Women want the best man they can find. This is why the alpha male is just there to finish the job. Gang.
That I didn't believe in him enough to at least let him try it. The times when I would just let it go, oh, okay, let's do it the way that you want it. Let's try it that way. If he made the mistake and it didn't work out the way that he wanted it to, then he would come to me and be like, Dixie, what was it you told me? How did you say that we should do it? Then I would explain it to him, and then he'd be like, yeah, that sounds better than what I was thinking about doing. Let's just do it like that. You don't really lose because you let the man have his point. You don't have to necessarily let him walk all over you. Just don't be so petty. The attitude that you catch with these men because you just gotta be right to the death, you're taking notches away from your lovability with that man. That's why a lot of guys end up having side girls, because the side girls don't complain so much. The side girls don't nag them so much. The side girls are not bothering him so much. The side girls don't judge him. They don't act like they don't trust him. Side girls leave this man alone to do him. They only chime in when they feel it's absolutely necessary to chime in, and the way that they chime is not with all this entitlement and attitude. That what I just said it, that's gonna trigger some of you guys. It's gonna hurt some feelings. It is what it is. Human beings are human beings. He's a human with a soul and feelings like you. Just because he's better at hiding his feelings than you are doesn't mean he doesn't have them. And the more you keep nagging him, going back and forth with him, the less value you have to him over time. Number one, stop trying to be right all the time. You don't need to be right. You being right is a direct contradiction for you being happy. When you're dealing with males, sometimes they are wrong, but it's not imperative for us to drill them to death about how wrong they are on something. The man, he needs respect from his woman, trusting that he knows what he's doing. Just let him do it the way he wants to do it. If it's not life and death, most men are pretty logical thinkers. So if he doesn't do something correctly, most of the time he can be man enough to admit that to himself, correct the behavior, change it. He might even step to you and be like, let's just do it your way, because I tried to do it my way. It didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. That actually has happened to me many times with my husband. In those instances where I just fought with him, his pride would be so hurt by the fact that I was